Welcome to a new mini-series I am titling Sat Ranks Random Stuff in Call of Duty Zombies, and today we are starting things off by ranking perks. Now there are a few disclaimers before we start which I think are pretty important for this, so bear with me. I will not be ranking literally every perk, and by that I mean all of the renamed perks in all non-tryout games, such as Tough Enough, Infinite Warfare's version of Jug, or Extra Revive, Advanced Warfare's version of Quick Revive. You get the point, right? For the Cold War perks, I will be judging them based off of their maximum potential, and yes, there are a lot of returning perks here as well, and I will be separating them from their more common counterparts. For instance, we'll have regular Speed Cola ranked, and then we'll have Cold War Speed Cola ranked. And finally, Black Ops 4. Once again, judging these perks off of their maximum potential. However, Deadshot, Mule Kick, Stamina Up, and Quick Revive, I've rolled these into the Cold War versions, as those perks with modifiers are basically the same as the upgraded Cold War versions. And with that all being said and done, that leaves us with 43 perks to rank, so let's get into it. We're sticking with Black Ops 4 for the worst perk of all time, and it's Secret Sauce. Grants you a random perk that isn't already equipped. Like, I get it, alright? Put it in the modifier slot, and you can possibly get a really good perk, such as, I don't know, Winter's Whale, at a pretty big discount. But there's still a 1 in 15 chance of you getting the perk you'd want. So just equip what you'd want, pay the extra cheddar. Literally, like, the most useless perk of all time. Get it in the bin. Who's who? Yeah, no surprise, this perk is all the way down here, and again, another perk that on paper sounds pretty good. Upon downing, you spawn in as a clone of yourself, equipped with the starting pistol. If you manage to revive yourself, you keep everything you had except the Who's Who perk. That is where the problem lies though. 9 times out of 10, most people aren't getting that revive, especially if you're on a somewhat high round. The second you spawn in as that clone, all of the zombies are going to flood right towards you, and you've got nothing but a starting pistol to defend yourself with. Like, come on. Also, the fact the perk only appears on Die Rise, which immediately has it starting at like minus 50 points. Next up, we have Electric Cherry. This is absolutely the first controversial pick of this video, but once you realize that this perk isn't that good anyway, it becomes a lot less controversial. Emitting an electric pulse every time you reload and dealing damage based on the amount of ammo left before said reload, with less ammo resulting in more damage and a larger pulse range. This does kill zombies, but only until the mid to late teen rounds, where it then stuns zombies, and even then it only stuns a handful of zombies per charge, and they've got to be like right up close and personal. At 2,000 points, you can't really complain, but compared to other 2,000 point perks, Double Tap 2.0, Stamina Up, hell, even Deadshot, you start to wonder if it's overstepping its reach. You knew it would be too far off the bottom. Original Tombstone is finally here. A perk that stores all of your equipment, perks, and guns after death, and allows you to reclaim all of those items upon revival the following round. Really isn't that bad, until you realize it's only available on transit, where you are very likely to spawn a million miles away from where you previously died, meaning you have to traverse the entire map in order to get those perks back. A map compiled of fog, denizens, lava, zombies, and a boss that can run you over if you're not careful enough. Oh, and if you die again before picking up your tombstone, you lose everything. Exo Stockpile from Advanced Warfare is next up. This is by far the simplest perk to feature so far, as it just flat out gives you extra ammo and an extra grenade. Don't get me wrong, it's useful, but there are better perks out there. One of those perks is Bandolier Bandit from Black Ops 4. Literally the exact same perk with one added benefit. With the modifier active, stowed weapons will refill their magazines from reserves. Like I said, same perk, just, a little bit better. I remember being so excited for Mule Kick when it released all those years ago with Moon. The ability to have 3 guns instead of 2, incredible. That was until you used the perk and have those 3 guns in your inventory with no easy way to switch directly to the gun you want to use. Imagine being in a sticky situation and need to switch to, say, your Thunder Gun, but it's 2 swaps away. Well, guess what? You're probably taking that down by the time you manage to switch to the right gun, and once you get revived, you realize you've lost your 3rd gun, which is more than likely going to be that Thunder Gun. I hate this perk, I see its potential, but I despise this perk, alright? Socks. Death Perception in Black Ops 4 lets you see through walls and do a little extra damage to elite weak spots. That's it. I have nothing else to add. That's literally the entire perk. I'm not gonna lie, I completely forgot Exo Slam even existed until about 10 minutes before sitting down and writing this script. And from a quick brief I read about the perk, you basically get a ground slam attack. Simply jump into the air with your Exo, slam to the ground, causing an AoE explosion that will kill zombies until about round 25, which to me just sounds like PhD flopper without the explosive resistance. And to be honest, I don't think I'd ever use this over more practical perks. I also think I'd probably get myself killed in about the first 5 minutes of using it. Black Ops 4 reintroduced PhD to the franchise, but this time the flopper aspect was nowhere to be seen as dolphin diving was no longer in the game and therefore replaced with sliding, giving us PhD slider. Obviously the perk still protects you from self-inflicted explosive damage, but this time sliding builds up an explosive charge, and once fully charged, sliding directly into an enemy activates the explosion, killing any zombies near the blast. Now sliding into zombies to activate the damage part of the perk not the smartest idea in the world, as there are several times when the perk just won't activate. For instance, if you're not dead center when you hit the zombie, it just might not activate, like at all. And before you know it, you've slid face first into a bunch of zombies and now you're dead. Like, don't get me wrong, protecting from explosions, part of the perk, pretty great. Rest of it, not so much. Infinite Warfare did a lot wrong, but they knew how to have fun, and Trailblazers is exactly that. Every time you slide, you leave a trail of fire behind you that damages and kills zombies. It's basically the fun part of PhD Slider, but this time there's no cooldowns, and you don't need to slide directly into zombies to activate it. It's just a great fun perk. I know Blaze Phase has a die-hard group of fans that swear this is the greatest perk ever conceived, and whilst it may be one of the most fun perks ever made, definitely not the best. Crouching for a short while charges a burst attack that once uncrouched sends you forward at high speeds, killing and stunning enemies. And with the modifier it has unlimited range, meaning you can travel quite far. You know, that is until you come into contact with like a wall or something. The perk is quite effective when it comes to killing zombies, but you do leave yourself pretty vulnerable when both charging the attack and exiting the attack. And I definitely feel this perk starts to lose its effectiveness as the zombies get more aggressive the higher the round you're on. I truly believe Time Slip is one of the most underrated perks in the entire game. I constantly see people putting this perk down with the worst of the worst, but that just isn't the case. Being able to charge all of your elixirs faster after use, your special weapon, and even your throwables is great. Not to mention the box settles faster and Pack-a-Punch works quicker, and traps recharge quicker. It's just overall a very good perk. Original Deadshots may be one of the most polarizing perks in this entire franchise. The amount of arguments I have seen over the years about this perk being good or bad is incredible, to be honest. And quite frankly, I do think this is a good perk. Just not that good. Controller players getting auto lock onto zombie crit spots is a huge bonus, and also getting a boost to hipfire accuracy is nice as well. Obviously on mouse you lose that auto lock on but still gain the hipfire accuracy boost. It's a good perk, but if you learn to just aim higher, the perk just kind of becomes a lot less necessary. We're going back to Advanced Warfare for Exo Soldier. This is basically Deadshot with a little extra juice. You get all the main benefits of Treyarch Deadshot with the added bonus of quicker ready times for your guns. Basically Deadshot plus Gung Ho, which is why the perk is only placed one slot higher than its Treyarch counterpart. Slappy Taffy is straight up one of the simplest and most effective perks in zombies. Just a full-on increase to melee damage that will have you one-tapping zombies until round 14. The perk also has a stun and knockback effect baked into it, making it an all-round great perk. I really don't get the hype around Double Tap 1.0, like at all. Twice the fire rate. That's it. The only time I'm ever using this perk is if I have the HK21 on Black Ops 1 zombies. Every other gun, it is a complete waste of a perk slot and ammo. Now, if this version of Double Tap was to return to the game in the current sandbox, you know, things like zombie health cap, weapon damage caps, ammo boxes, all of that stuff, then it immediately becomes a top 5 perk. But that's never gonna happen, so 27th it is. Placed at 26th, we have Zombshell. This is a great perk, alright, and I know there'll be people shaking their head at me, but I don't care. Dealing damage to zombies has a chance to spawn an electrical orb for upwards of 10 seconds that will slow zombies in the near area, and those zombies affected by the orb also take increased damage. And not only that, but with the modifier active, the perk can also act like Voltrade. I mean, like, what's not to love? Other than the fact you'll have to sell a kidney to buy it because it costs 5,500 points. Victorious Tertius is another perk I feel is greatly underrated. This perk essentially makes you invincible as long as you have your shield in your hand, as it blocks all incoming damage, and when your shield breaks, it also emits an explosion, killing and knocking down any near zombies. With the modifier, it also allows you to knock down elites. I actually think this is a great perk to use for any general training or Easter egg runs. Imagine a world where you take Tombstone and Who's Who and merge them into one. Well, guess what? That's literally what they did with Tombstone in Cold War, and it's actually pretty damn good. Upon downing, you become a Shadow of the Dark Ether, and you'll be equipped with whatever guns you are running, already making this 1,000 times better than the original Who's Who. Not only that, but you gain increased health regeneration for your Shadow, and you have double the bleed out time, meaning you have 60 seconds of Shadow time to revive yourself rather than the usual 30. And not only that, but upon reviving yourself, you keep all your perks and guns, only losing the Tombstone perk. You know, it feels weird to say it, but Tombstone is actually a pretty damn good perk these days. Black Ops 4 has a perk where once you deal enough damage, a friendly wolf called Luna spawns in and starts munching down on zombies for you, and it's called Blood Wolf Bite, and it is by far one of the most unique perks we've ever seen in zombies. Not only does Luna fight for you, but they also have a chance to drop miniature versions of power-up drops every time they get a kill, and those drops are points, special weapon charge, and ammo. Luna will fight with you for 45 seconds, but does have quite a hefty cooldown of 5 minutes. I may despise its original rendition, but Mule Kick 2.0 really is the star it could have been since the beginning. Once again allowing you to carry a third weapon, but this time when you down and lose the perk and subsequently your gun, it isn't even really something to worry about, as when you repurchase the perk, you reclaim whatever gun you lost. Like, incredible upgrade. Not only that, but the perk gives you more ammo drops, refills the magazines of stored weapons, gives you 2 equipment for the cost of 1 when using the crafting bench, and it gives you a 25% chance to keep any non-retrievable equipment upon use. This perk really did go from the ugly duckling to the golden goose. And just missing out on the top 20, we have Voltrade. The main ability of Voltrade is the Gas Cloud. This cloud is a green mist that emits from zombies, and when killed, zombies drop that cloud and it acts as a camouflage. Once you step inside the cloud, zombies can no longer see you and therefore won't attack you, and it also lasts for quite a long time. The perk also gives you extra ammo and point drops, as well as also allowing you to see where all of the perk box and wall buy locations are. Now, before you freak out and shout at me in the comments, MW3 Tombstone is a very good perk, okay? Upon dying and leaving the game, all of the items you had in your backpack are saved and stored in a grave, and when you enter your next game, you can go over to your tombstone and reclaim all of the items you had stored in your bag. That is a great perk for a loot-based zombies experience, which MWC is. Imagine having some of the best loot in the game, you die, lose it all. You'd be pissed. Tombstone at least gives you the chance to grab all of that loot and make it out of the raid with it. Great perk, wonderful perk even. Death Perception is back again, and this time it's a whole hell of a lot better than its Black Ops 4 counterpart. Continuing with the theme of allowing you to see zombies through walls, but now you can also see equipment drops, salvage, or reward chests, which is especially helpful in the open world zombies experience in Cold War called Outbreak. The perk also gives you danger indicators for enemies that are out of your line of sight, but for me, the main 2 points that make this version of the perk so much better is the extra 25% to armor penetration damage and the extra 20% salvage gain you receive when picking up salvage, especially considering salvage is a key currency when it comes to upgrading your weapons. I can definitely see some fume being made by this next choice, but let me explain. Speed Cola is in at 18th. at least original Speed Cola, as I just don't feel like it's needed as much in today's Call of Duty Zombies as it was back in the days of Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2. Ever since the addition of weapon attachments, especially those such as fast mags, extended mags, speed loaders, anything that just naturally reduces reload speeds, I just kind of feel like they reduced the need for Speed Cola. And when you throw in things like the max ammo rework on top of it, Speed Cola has just fallen down the pecking order of perks. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's sitting in 18th, it's still a good perk, it's just certainly not as good as what it once was. And then at 17th, we have the one and only Juggernog. Cold War version, that is. I honestly don't feel like a perk that increases health is that important in a game like Cold War. Sure, an extra 100 hit points is nice, and the added armor benefits are good too, but at the end of the day, Cold War already gives the player a ton of health and armor even without Jug. In fact, I think Jug's best attribute in this game is the reduced status effects by 50% buff. Plus, the perk also has another attribute, being on lethal hits rather than being downed, health is reduced to 1, and all armor is depleted. This is less important to me personally, but it has definitely saved me on a few occasions. Now, what if you combined Speed Cola and Time Slip into one perk? Well, that's literally what they did with Cold War Speed. You get all the benefits of both rolled into one package. Increased reload speeds, faster boarding of windows, faster box spins, decreased charge times for field upgrades. Basically just speeding up everything, like what's not to love? Stone Cold Stronghold is a very simple but effective perk. When you stand still, a blue circle appears around you, and whilst this is active, you gain armor and a damage boost. With the modifier active, this further boosts damage for every zombie kill you get within the blue circle. Any perk that offers a damage boost is always going to place highly for me, especially one that increases that damage over time. However, the fact it's only activated by standing still, which can mean games get a bit dicey, and the fact that leaving the circle removes the entire buff means I can't place it any higher than 15th. This next perk is a personal favorite of mine, and it's Ethereal Razor, another perk that boosts the damage of your melee attack, however this time with a little extra juice. There are two types of melee attacks, swipes and lunges. Swipes are fast attacks that with Ethereal Razor hit and kill multiple enemies at once and give you a small amount of health back. Lunges are single enemy attacks that are slower, but with the perk they deal greatly increased damage, and with the modifier active, these attacks are guaranteed kills against regular zombies no matter what round, as well as then dealing even more damage to elites. Perk is so good, and there's nothing anyone can say that'll make me think otherwise. Oh, and it also works with the Bowie knife, meaning you can just bully everything. Quick Revive makes the list at 13th, and this is the original Quick Revive 2 that has two separate uses. The first is in co-op play, where the perk simply allows you to revive other players 50% quicker, and the second use is in solo play. If you take it down, it automatically revives you and will do this up to 3 times. I know there'll be people thinking this should be a nailed on top 10 perk, and honestly, in the first draft of this, I had it in 7th. But after some deliberation and looking through some of the perks we've yet to cover, I thought bumping it down to 13 was more than fair. The first of its kind, PhD Flopper. By far the most popular version of this perk, and honestly, it deserves it. PhD Flopper negates all self-inflicted explosive damage which made weapons such as Mustang and Sally, the ray gun, and even the scavenger in the old zombie sandbox more than viable. But the main attraction personally for me with this perk is the Flopper ability. Dolphin diving from a height that would usually cause damage instead now causes an explosion dealing damage to zombies and is capable of killing zombies up to round 20 in one blast. This version of the perk also returned in MWZ with the added bonus of negating all fire and gas damage. Moving on from the original PhD Flopper to the better PhD Slider from Cold War. This perk does everything Flopper does, but like I said, better. Yes, the Dolphin Dive was replaced with a slide, but the slide in this game is ridiculously powerful against zombies, and by that, I mean it's infinite damage. There's no cooldown, so you can slide into all the zombies you want, blowing them all up to your heart's content. Not to mention, the massively increased slide speed is just incredible. Breaking into the top 10 spots, we once again have Quick Revive, the Cold War / MWZ version. Quick Revive has gone through a rather drastic change over the years, as it no longer automatically revives you upon downing. Don't get me wrong, it still revives you if you do go down, but these days you have to get a kill for that to happen, and this is also a Cold War specific attribute. In fact, Quick Revive's main thing these days is health regeneration, quite literally allowing you to start the process twice as fast after losing health. It also revives teammates 50% quicker, but also gives you instant health regen upon doing so and a movement speed boost. Honestly, this perk fits the current zombie sandbox so goddamn well. I sincerely think if Elemental Pop released during the Black Ops 3 days, this would be regarded by everyone as one of the best perks this franchise has and will ever see. Rolling every single AAT into one perk that has a chance to proc on every single bullet and equipment hit is quite frankly ludicrous, and absolutely deserves a spot in the top 10. Not to mention that the perk also makes zombies 50% weaker to any elemental damage, and it comes with cherry baked into it. Like, it's definitely a top 10 perk, alright? This probably won't come as a surprise to those of you that know me and have watched my content for a while, but in 8th we have the original Stamina. What's not to love about a perk that makes you run faster, fall longer, and gives you increased stamina regeneration? What makes it even better is this perk makes you even faster in games where you are already faster than every single enemy in the game, making life so much easier for yourself. One of the best perks in the game, and I will die on that hill. Dying Wish is OG Quick Revive on steroids. Receiving enough damage that would usually down you instead reduces you to 1 health, and you enter an enraged berserk mode for 9 seconds where you cannot take any damage, and with the modifier active, upon leaving berserk mode you will have full health. Now this perk does have a cooldown between uses that increases with every activation, but in theory, even with diminishing returns, this perk can keep you alive forever, and I think a perk capable of doing that deserves a spot in the top 10. My former number 1 perk of all time has fallen down to 6th place, Widow's Wine. Replaces all grenades with sticky Widow's Wine grenades that offer both defensive and offensive qualities. When you are hit, one grenade explodes, emitting a defensive webbing that freezes or slows enemy movement depending on the distance from you on explosion. If you throw and stick a zombie with the grenade, it will instantly freeze them in place and also slow any surrounding zombies. These effects all last for 20 seconds. You also get upwards of 4 grenades. You also get increased melee damage, and your melee has the chance to freeze zombies when hit, and all this for the low price of 4,000 points. But honestly, it's well worth it. This is it, top 5, the best of the best, and we're starting off with Deadshot 2.0. I deadass never thought there would be a day where Deadshot became one of my go-to perks, but here we are. Auto lock-on for crits is the staple piece for Deadshot, and it returns here. Not only do you get aimbot, obviously on controller, but you get 100% extra crit damage if an enemy is at full health, tighter hipfire spread, 10% bonus to crit damage in general, and sustained fire on a single target causes you to deal extra damage up to 20% more, and people genuinely thought Cold War needed Double Tap 2.0. Okay, for real this time, we have Juggernog, the classic, and everyone's go-to. Just a straight up health boost, allowing you to withstand more damage, and yes, I have ranked this quite a lot higher than its Cold War successor, but that's simply down to this version of the perk being way more useful. World at War to Black Ops 2, this perk was king, taking you from a 2-hit down to a 3-hit down. It was quite literally the difference between life and death. And yes, as the sandbox has progressed and gotten easier throughout the years from Black Ops 3 to the current day, the necessity for this perk has regressed. It's no longer that staple piece to everyone's loadout. Still an extremely helpful perk, just, you know, not what it used to be. I put OG Stamina Up at 8th, and its Cold War successor is at 3rd. Stamina Up makes you move pretty fast. Cold War Stamina Up turns you into a goddamn NASCAR. The only way you're getting hit is by range attacks. It is an absurd perk. Then you factor in all the other boosts it gives. Increased backpedal speed, immunity to fall damage, faster walking while ADS, use equipment while sprinting, and most importantly, no sprint speed fall off, meaning you can run forever. This perk is so strong that the only time zombies can even catch up to you is when super sprinters begin to spawn during the mid-50s. Banger of a perk, alright? So good. In second place, we have a perk that needs no introduction. It's Double Tap 2.0. There really isn't much to say about this perk other than it doubles your damage when using bullet guns. The old sandbox for zombies, which is the sandbox you see from World at War all the way up to Black Ops 3, works pretty differently to what we have today. The main thing being the health caps for zombies. Every round, a zombie health would increase, and I believe it continues on this trend until somewhere in the 250s. And yes, that's round 250. And puts zombie health in the realm of about 14 billion. To put that into perspective, I believe the strongest gun in Black Ops 3 zombies when pack-punched, hitting headshots, and double tap is active is the SVG Sniper, putting out 20,000 damage on the dot per shot. Obviously, Double Tap 2.0 is doing jack shit when you start getting up into the higher echelon of zombie rounds, but for those first 40 to 50 rounds, it really is that good, especially considering it can make most guns a one-shot to the head until the early 30s. And put it this way, this perk is so strong that we will never see it in the current version of the Zombies sandbox. I slept on this perk for many years, even often referring to it as the B-Tech version of Widow's Wine. But that's just not the case, and I am of course talking about Winter's Whale. Now yes, when this perk was originally released, it was ass. Mainly because the cooldown between each blast was 5 minutes, which was later reduced all the way down to just 60 seconds. And with the modifier active, you have 4 charges at maximum rather than 3 without the modifier. The perk emits a frost blast whenever you are hit with a melee attack, which yes, acts very similarly to Widow's. However, the modifier doesn't just give you an extra charge, it also turns the blast into a slowing field around you, meaning you essentially become a roaming freezing machine for about 5 to 10 seconds. And remember, this has 4 charges at maximum, and the perk will auto refill charges at the start of every round, and max ammo's also refilled the charges. This perk is stupidly strong, and I'm tired of pretending it isn't, and therefore it is my number 1 pick for the best perk in Call of Duty Zombies. And there it is. That is my Zombies perk tier list. I know there's a few debatable picks here and there, but please do try and keep it civil in the comments. At the end of the day, this is all just pixels on a screen. It's really not that deep. And with that, thank you so much for watching. My name has been Satch, and I'll see you in the next one.